So Minecraft just came out with a new block, and to be honest, if you're anything like me, you see a single redstone thing and you go, ah, no, please, anything but that redstone, why? I don't understand it, doesn't make any sense. I typically share in your pain, but today, I actually had a lot of fun with this. The Crafter is part of the 1.21 update and was just recently announced in Minecraft Live. It gives you the ability to craft things with redstone signal, and that means automation is going to be a thing. Oh, there's a turtle. Hey, buddy, how's it going over there? What do I mean by going to be a thing? It's already a thing. Check this out. But naturally, as a redstone item, it is a little bit more complex than the standard block in the game. These two things are very different. So for the past couple days, I've been trying to figure out how this thing works. I legit saw this thing during Minecraft. Oh, hello. I legit saw this thing during Minecraft Live, and I thought to myself, I want to figure that out. Because, like, this could be really useful. This could be game-changing. And today I want to explain to you exactly how this thing works. And oh yeah, I think I figured it out. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the most confusing thing of all time. Just kidding. It's not actually not that hard. I figured it out pretty quick, but there are a lot of pieces, so let's just jump right into it. To start with, as you saw, this block has a GUI and has the ability to place items inside of it. Once the item is inside of it, you can power it with redstone and it'll craft whatever item is inside. You can also disable slots, and this will be valuable here in a moment. Once again, there you go. You got decorated pot, boom, crafted, and beautiful. But this block is different from these blocks. Even though this GUI looks semi-similar to this GUI, there are a lot of differences. Primarily the way that items are placed into the crafter. If I just unlock this hopper here, you'll see items are being placed in sequentially. Instead of the regular thing with droppers and other storage items where it just starts filling up that first slot, this one actually continues to fill up the lowest slot, or the slot with the least amount of items in it, and then it just goes through systematically and keeps filling it up, which is very unique, but it makes sense for this type of block. You can see now that that's all filled up, I can just keep crafting things, and it works great. You can also see this works with any configuration of disabled slots like this. That is upside down stairs, but it works with any configuration of slots, which is really cool. So these two are just regular storage items. Obviously, the dispenser has redstone capabilities, but it is a storage GUI, and this is also a storage GUI. But this GUI is the most unique out of any GUI in the game now, which is kind of cool. And the way this thing interacts with redstone is also quite unique, and we're going to touch on that here in a moment. But first, I have to fulfill a contractual obligation to tell you about Apex Gaming PCs. Ladies and gentlemen, there's Apex Gaming PCs in my description. Okay, true story. My computer right now, Bluetooth just doesn't work. Like, my motherboard supports Bluetooth. I've checked. I know it does, but it just no Bluetooth is working. I also don't know if my Wi-Fi is working. So something with the wireless card is broken. My computer's broken. Also the RGB, it just doesn't turn on anymore, and I don't know why, but probably because I built the computer myself. I don't know what I'm doing half the time. I don't know some of these things. It's a confusing land, okay? So why not have someone else handle it for you if you're building a new computer? Apex Gaming PCs is gonna provide you with that service, and with the link in the description, you'll find my link to my partnership page where I have my 3 builds on there. Because I chose those. They use industry standard and high quality parts, and you can configure your computer to match whatever you need. Their built-in configurator allows you to choose anything you want to, and including some extra cool services that they do, which I'm actually like pretty impressed by. Go scroll through the list. It's actually really impressive. They have like some secrets that I didn't know about. If you do want to buy one of my 3 tiers of computers, or you want to go to the rest of the site and buy something for yourself, then make sure to use my code Knarfy for up to $250 off your purchase. That's right, you can get money off with my name. So huge thanks to Apex Gaming PCs for their partnership. You could check out the link at the top of the description and use my code for up to $250 off. We've been partners for a super long time, and I really appreciate what they do. So thanks Apex for supporting the channel, and thank you for also supporting the channel if you buy one. Go use code NARF. Go use the code. Go do that. Enjoy. But now we're going to talk about redstone, because crafters output a signal based on how full they are. So as you can see here, this crafter has no disabled slots and no items in it. So this is not outputting any sort of signal. But the moment I add an item and disable a couple of these slots, this slowly starts to tick up. The crafter will output a higher signal based on how many items are inside, / slots are disabled. So now that every slot is filled, you can see that this is outputting a signal strength of 9. This is a super useful mechanic because it allows you to time your crafting. In this case, I have a hopper full of iron ingots, and I want to craft some iron boots. If I have this thing just running like crazy with a clock over here, then yeah, it's just gonna make some iron nuggets, and I don't want iron nuggets, I want boots. So I'm just gonna get rid of that. So now if I take a signal out of level 9, 9, bring that around and send it to the crafting table, and then unlock this. You'll see that this will fill up first, and then it'll craft the boots. That's because as it's outputting the signal, it'll hit the 9th slot here, and then send a signal back to craft the item. If I just use slot 4, however, you'll notice that it's just outputting more nuggets, which I don't want the nuggets. So this comparator mechanic is super useful for crafting the items you want. As long as this thing is full, you'll be outputting a signal strength of 9. But some recipes don't require a signal strength or don't require timing. For example, crafting wool. You'll notice that right when this is filled with string, it'll activate and craft the item. That's just because there's no recipe for, like 1 string or 2 string. There's no recipe in between. So in certain situations like this, you can just run a system like this, and it works. And so that's exactly what I did with this contraption. This is actually a spider farm. You can see there's a bunch of spider spawners up there, and they'll spawn, and they'll die on those magma blocks, and drop their string down here. That then gets picked up by this hopper and dropped down into this crafter, and whenever this fills up, you'll notice that it'll craft the item. Boop, there it is. And now, that's in here. So I've just effectively turned this spider spawner into a wool farm. And of course, there's probably things that you'll need to fix because I just saw a skeleton die in there, and then that means that all those items are also gonna end up in here, so things just won't craft. But if you use an item sorter, which are super easy to figure out online, then you can get your items crafted up and there's no problem. Or you could even take those bones and craft them into bone meal, stuff like that. It's kind of awesome. There's a lot of cool things with farms that you can do, and this is a really neat mechanic. But the fun comes when you can do multiple stages of crafting. For example, crafting an item to add to another crafting recipe. And the first example I thought of was sugarcane and leather turning into books. So obviously it starts up here with whatever sugarcane farm. This is just an example. This is an actual system. We'll get to some actual systems in a moment. But you'll start here with this sugarcane, and once this chest is filled with sugarcane, or however much sugarcane you have from your farm, you'll see it'll be put into here, and this will start crafting the sugarcane into paper. That paper then gets placed down here into this chest, where this is just going to be super full. And as you can see, this crafter doesn't work yet because we don't have leather. But with a little bit of timing magic here, you'll notice that we can actually craft books. I had to fix it up a little bit, but you can see here it's just crafting books and placing them. Oh my gosh, that's so many books. I didn't realize there were so many books in here. But yeah, you can see how this could work. You go from like an automatic leather farm and an automatic sugarcane farm, and you can just craft those right into a useful item like a book. It's really cool. It's neat. You can now automate the creation of books. But that's not all you can automate. There's actually a lot of things you can do. For example, I took on the task of creating an automatic lodestone crafter, which you would think would be quite straightforward, but let's take a look at this recipe here. We've got 8 of these chiseled stone bricks and a netherite ingot. The netherite ingot requires gold and netherite scraps, which you get from raw gold and ancient debris. Chiseled stone bricks come from cobblestone, smelted into stone, crafted into stone bricks, crafted into stone brick slab, crafted into chiseled thing. It's a process. So as you can see, there's 5 steps to get to each one of these, and then there's like a 2 or 3 steps to get to each one of those. So that's what this contraption does, is it puts all those things together and makes it work. Man, that was a great nether mining trip. Jeez. But here's how this system works. You can see that this is the initial input for all the items that we need, like, the fuel for the furnaces and such, and all the raw materials that you go out and gather. You can do that. And then that goes down into the stage 1, which is the smelting space. You can see these blast furnaces are smelting the ancient debris and the gold, and then that's turning them into gold ingots and the ancient scraps, netherite scraps. Yeah, that's what these chests are for, gold and netherite scraps. Those are then placed in this crafter, which then turns it into a netherite ingot, which is represented here, and then this goes down this pipe into this dispenser, which we'll touch on this in a moment. The other side is a little bit more all over the place. You take raw cobblestone and you throw that through a furnace, because apparently you can't use a blast furnace for that. I didn't actually know that until today. Put that through a regular furnace. I imagine this could be faster with like an auto smelter or like whatever, giant system, crazy, a lot of moving parts, tons of stone coming through whatever system you put here, and then that goes into a crafter where you can craft. Oh, it just crafted it. It goes into this crafter where you can craft stone bricks. Those stone bricks then get turned into stone brick slabs right here with this system. Stone brick slabs, boop, beautiful. And then those go down here, which are then also placed into another crafter, and And then this crafter turns those stone brick slabs into these, the chiseled stone bricks. Then that all gets placed into this, and it gets placed in this hopper where this system down here, oh gosh, oh boy, this is where it gets complicated. Let's talk about comparators real quick as a quick aside. So a comparator naturally will output a signal strength based on whatever item it's next to, right? So this now is outputting the signal strength of 9. I don't know if that's actually 9, but the point is, this is now outputting a signal strength of 9. If I take this and I right-click it, this is now in subtract mode. You'll see it still outputs the same sort of thing where there's 3 because there's 3 here, so it doesn't affect its output necessarily. But what you can do with this is you can change that signal strength output with another output. Lecterns work in a similar way that the crafter does, in that the lectern will output a signal based on how many pages are turned. So this is actually a pretty fun mechanic. So right now this is on page 1 of 15, and you can see it's outputting a signal strength of 1. If I put this to page 5, you'll see this is now outputting a signal strength of 5. So you can take this mechanic of controlling your redstone output and then run this into this, like so. This system right here, the lectern and this comparator, are now subtracting from this comparator's output. So right now, this crafter should be outputting a signal strength of 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, but the 9 isn't lit up. You see, 8. Because this is on 1. If I set this to 3, that is now going to subtract 3 from this signal strength of 9. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's nothing else after that. So the math adds up. This can now be used to determine when this crafter gets to a certain point. So let's say this crafter only has 3 items in it, right? That's going to output a signal strength of 3 naturally. But with this subtracting 8, I'm not getting any output at all. What this system will now allow us to do is that even at 8, it won't output anything, but at 9, when everything is full, we get a signal output. We can now sense when this crafter is full, and hence only craft when that item is there. This system is effectively the same system that was over here, except this is just subtracting from that guy, if that makes sense. So same sort of ordeal, but now it's just a lot more compact, and I can fit a couple of them here. Instead of using the lectern, though, I was using these, which are not quite as great. I just was using these with wooden axes, but it's not quite as useful as like the lectern. I don't know why I was using these, so it's a little bit more confusing, but effectively what's happening is that this system right here is sensing when this crafter gets to level 4. Once this crafter has 4 of these chiseled stone bricks in it, it'll fire this dropper, which will place a netherite ingot into the crafter. I'll actually show you this right now. If I just go ahead and throw these 7 chiseled stone bricks right over here, you'll notice 1, 2, 3, 4, boop, and now the netherite ingot is in there. So this was effectively just timing the netherite ingot's input to be placed in this recipe at the right place. Kind of nice, a little bit complicated, but it makes sense, right? Then this secondary system only senses when this crafter is full and then triggers the crafting to happen. I don't know why I did it this way. This was kind of my first exploration into raw materials into a recipe. But obviously this system is a semi-simple recipe, right? What about something a little bit more complicated? A recipe that requires 3 different ingredients. Oh my gosh, this is a lot of furnaces. That's like, I'm crafting too many furnaces. Okay, now that I've retrofitted that and fixed it. This system right here crafts blast furnaces, the recipe for which is as follows: iron ingots, a furnace, and smooth stone. Boop. I am so proud of this system. You have no idea. I took about 3 hours today to finish this. Like I said, I'm not a redstoner, but I was able to put this together, which is so cool. Let's talk this through though. Essentially what's happening here is that this is the raw iron, and so the iron system is really, really easy and self-contained. Iron gets smelted, placed into this chest, and then taken on this hopper minecart ride to evenly distribute it through all of these hoppers, which we'll talk about what these hoppers and dispensers are doing here in a moment. This system is the stone system. So there's cobblestone on both of these sides. This is all cobblestone, but this system was really efficient. So I just kind of like ran out of, I'm gonna just refill this. So right here, we get this smelting once into regular old stone, and then smelting twice now down into smooth stone, and then placed directly into these droppers. So now I got the smooth stone here at the end. We've got iron, we've got our furnaces that are being crafted up. So many furnaces, just so many furnaces. And then all of those are being placed in this dropper, and when the time comes, they're all dropped. So what this whole complicated, crazy looking system is this is just a bunch of observers. This is just a bunch of observers looking at each other. And when this system right here is fired by that note block, whenever this block is moved, then that triggers all of that. What effectively this means is that this fires these droppers in sequence. Let me just give you a good example of this. So this is how it works. As you can see here on the top, this is the path of the observers. Observers? What am I'm losing my mind, man. If you trigger this first observer with, like, I don't know, some sort of block update, you can see how this, oh, those are droppers. If you update this first observer, it goes in sequence. Because obviously there's a little bit of a tick delay between each observer seeing that the thing before it also updated. So this system is just vertical right there. And that means I can time when things are placed into a main hopper stream. What this effectively means is that I can control when items are being placed into this hopper stream to control the recipe in the crafter. So as you can see, items are being placed into the crafter at the correct time because they were being placed into this hopper stream at the correct time. And then this just senses when it's done and then crafts the item once it's full. And then those are all placed into here. This extra system effectively just means that whenever this isn't crafting, it's not outputting a bunch of extra things. Because I had a problem where it just kept overloading itself and then the hoppers were all getting jumbled and it was just kind of a problem. So what I have is there's like a line of blocks that enable these observers and then those are being fired by this line that is being triggered by this line. I don't even think you really need it. It's not completely necessary, but it does mean that I can hit this button once and then I can hit this as many times as I want and it won't affect this at all, which is great. There's still ways to break it, but if you're careful, this works pretty effectively. And of course, you could just have this automatically running on a timer, and anytime that it automatically crafts, you could just have this fire again and then just constantly be crafting these over and over and over and over and over. So now I've got my blast furnaces, and yeah, it works. It literally goes from raw materials into blast furnaces. I don't know what I need a billion blast furnaces for, but now I can have them. So all that being said, even though this looks incredibly complex, it's actually pretty straightforward, and all of this just utilizes the new crafter to get from raw materials to finished crafted materials, all without me having to touch a single thing. And that, my friends, is amazing. What a cool addition to Minecraft. I was not at all expecting this. But of course, naturally, because I'm the way that I am, I actually figured out a way to craft things faster than anyone else. I am able to be the fastest crafter in all of everywhere, ever, at all. I think I literally capped it out. So what this utilizes is an auto clicker, obviously, because that's crazy incredibly fast. And this is quick and all, but this is like super limited because obviously you just run out of space here. So here's what I'm doing. This is a repeating command block that destroys the block that's there and replaces it with the existing thing, the new crafter with all the items inside of it. But as you can see, it just throws a bunch of iron blocks everywhere and it's just kind of a mess. So what we have next to it is a command block that deletes iron blocks from the world, but nothing else. So everything else is fine. And with this combination, you can see that this is, whoa. This just keeps replacing this over and over and over, right? So this should be an infinite supply of iron blocks inside of it, which means that I could do this forever. Boop. Infinite iron ingots. Yup, it just keeps going. There's just no end. It's forever. Yeah, that's the fastest crafting ever. How about this, though? Yes, the chaos. Be sure to subscribe. Woo! Cool. Well, now that you understand every single thing on this screen, what do you think? Do you like the crafter? Are you gonna make something out of it? What are you gonna do with it? What's the plan? All right, what are you gonna do? I'm not annoying. Are you bothered by me being so close to you? Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Also, check out the sponsor link in the description. Bye.